The underground facility was always silent at night. Long metal corridors stretched like endless tunnels, filled with the hum of machines. The air smelled of steel and cold chemicals. Most people feared this place, but Ethan had grown used to it. He was a young technician, working on maintenance and security checks. For him, it was routine, nothing more than pressing buttons and checking lights. But tonight felt different. His footsteps echoed louder than usual. The shadows seemed longer, darker, almost alive. And then he heard it, a whisper, soft but clear. Calling from nowhere, it spoke his name, Ethan. He froze in the middle of the corridor. His eyes scanned left and right, but no one was there. The base was empty at this hour. Every guard and scientist asleep in their quarters. Yet someone had called him. He shook his head, telling himself it was just his mind playing tricks. But then he heard it again, stronger this time. Ethan, come closer. His heart raced. The sound came from the far end of the hall, where the restricted chambers were kept. He had been told never to go near them. Only senior officers had access. Still, something pulled him forward, like invisible hands guiding his steps. He reached a heavy steel door, taller than any he had ever seen. It was sealed with multiple locks and glowing security lights. And then the voice spoke again. Open the door, human, free me. Ethan's breath caught in his throat. The voice was not like any human voice. It was softer, almost musical, yet filled with sorrow. He leaned closer, pressing his ear against the cold metal. Inside, he heard faint movements, like someone shifting. In chains, he whispered, "Who are you?" The reply came at once. "A prisoner, trapped here for years. Please, open the door." He stepped back, confusion flooding his mind. This was impossible. The restricted chambers were supposed to hold dangerous samples, not people. Why would a living being be locked inside? He hesitated, then noticed a small glass slot on the door. Covered with dust, slowly he wiped it with his sleeve and peered inside. His eyes widened. There, sitting in the dim blue light, was a girl, but not a human girl. Her hair shimmered like silver threads. Glowing faintly in the darkness, her eyes were bright and strange, reflecting the light like twin stars. On her arms and neck were glowing markings, patterns that seemed to move across her skin. She looked fragile, weak, yet her gaze was sharp, full of pain and fire. When she saw Ethan, her lips moved. "Please, human, help me. Free me before they return." Her words echoed in his head. Even though her lips barely moved, it was as if she was speaking inside his mind. Ethan stumbled back in shock. This was no ordinary prisoner. This was something alien. Fear gripped him. Every warning he had ever heard about restricted areas screamed in his head. He knew he should turn around, walk away, pretend he never heard her voice. But something inside him refused. Her eyes had caught him, pleading and desperate. She was not a monster, not a beast, but a girl asking for help. Ethan whispered, "Why are you here?" Her answer was quick, her voice trembling. "Because of my blood, they need it. They take it again and again. They keep me alive only for that. If you do not help me, they will come back, and I will not survive much longer." Ethan felt a chill crawl down his spine. Her words were simple, yet heavy. The scientists he worked for, were they really capable of such cruelty? He wanted to deny it, but deep down, he knew this place had many secrets. Secrets no one questioned. Because no one dared to, the girl pressed her hand against the glass, her skin glowing faintly. "I know you, Ethan. You are kind. You are not like the others. That is why I called to you. Only you can hear me. Only you can free me." Her words sank into his mind. How could she know his name? Could she know his heart? Was she reading his thoughts? Or was it something deeper? Ethan's hands trembled as he touched the steel door. The locks blinked with red lights, impossible for him to open without clearance. And yet, a part of him wanted to try. He felt trapped between fear and compassion. If he freed her, he might be punished, even killed. But if he left her, he would carry her voice forever in his mind. The silence of the corridor grew heavy. The hum of the machines sounded like a warning. Somewhere far away, a faint alarm beeped, reminding him that cameras could be watching, but Ethan couldn't move. His eyes were locked with hers. Her voice whispered again, soft as a prayer. "Open the door, human, free me." The words echoed inside him, louder than the alarms, louder than his fear. In that moment, Ethan knew his life was about to change forever. He just didn't know whether it would lead to salvation or destruction. Ethan stood frozen at the steel door, his heartbeat loud in his ears. The girl's glowing eyes watched him from inside the chamber, unblinking, steady, filled with sorrow and fire. She was not shouting, she was not screaming, yet her voice pressed inside his mind like a whisper. Carried on the wind, "Do not be afraid. Human, I will not hurt you," she said, her lips barely moving. Her tone calm but desperate. Ethan swallowed hard. He had never seen anything like her. He had seen strange machines, weapons, men failed experiments in this base, but never something so alive, so human, yet so alien at the same time. Her silver hair shimmered in the dim blue light, falling around her shoulders like flowing metal. The glowing patterns on her skin pulsed slowly, almost like the rhythm of a heartbeat. Ethan whispered, "Who are you?" The girl closed her eyes for a moment, as if gathering strength. Then she spoke. "My name does not matter here. They call me Subject 13. I was taken from my world long ago, locked in this place, used for what runs in my blood." Her voice trembled, but there was anger beneath it. Anger carefully hidden under years of pain. Ethan felt a shiver crawl up his arms. He asked, "What do they want from you?" She lifted her arm, showing the glowing veins that ran beneath her skin. "My DNA, it is not like yours. It heals, it grows, it changes. They cut me, they take it, they use it for their weapons, for their war. I am alive only because they need." More, her words hit Ethan like a storm. He wanted to believe she was lying. But deep down, he knew the truth. He had seen shipments leaving the base, crates sealed with red warnings, marked as bio-enhanced materials. He never asked what was inside. Now he knew. The girl moved closer to the glass slot, her pale fingers pressing against it. "I called you because I felt you. You are not like the others. You question things. You do not close your eyes." Ethan shook his head, his voice low. "But I can't help you. The doors, the locks, the guards, everything is against me." The girl's eyes glowed brighter. "The locks are not as strong as they seem. The real chains are not metal. The real chains are fear." Her words struck him deeper than he expected. She was right. Every worker in this facility lived under silent fear. They obeyed orders, never asked questions, never broke rules. Fear kept them prisoner more than the steel walls. Ethan stepped back, looking at the control panel near the door. It blinked with codes, locked with passwords only officers carried. But his mind raced. What if there was another way? The girl's voice returned, softer now, almost gentle. "Listen to me, Ethan. I do not ask you to fight them. I do not ask you to die for me. I only ask you to give me a chance to leave this cage, to breathe free air once again." Her words carried pain, but also hope. A hope so fragile it almost broke Ethan's heart. He had lived his life in shadows, fixing machines, following orders, never standing out. But now, here he was, the only one standing between this girl and her freedom. Ethan asked carefully, "Why me? Why not call someone else?" The girl lowered her eyes, then looked at him with a faint smile, a smile filled with sadness. "Because only you can hear me. I reach through thoughts, but most minds here are closed, hardened by greed and cruelty. Yours is different. Open, kind, alive. You heard me. You answered me. Her words sent a strange warmth through Ethan's chest. He had always felt invisible in this place, just another face in a crowd of workers. But to her, he was something more. The silence of the base pressed around them. Ethan knew time was slipping away at any moment. Guards could pass through, or cameras could catch him near the restricted chamber. He whispered, "If I free you, what will you do?" Her answer came quick, her voice firm. "I will leave. I will run from here. I will find my way home. I do not seek revenge. I do not seek war. I only want to live." Ethan studied her face. Her eyes did not lie. They held no hatred, only a desperate hunger for freedom. But then she added something else. Her tone darker. "Yet if I stay, if they keep me, if they succeed with their work, your world will suffer. Your people will suffer. They will make weapons that no one can stop. And the blood on those weapons will be mine." Those words hit Ethan harder than anything else. He imagined soldiers holding rifles powered by her DNA, bombs fueled by her essence, wars burning across cities. Was humanity creating its own destruction, using this girl as the source? He stepped closer to the door, his hand trembling as it hovered near the control panel. His mind screamed at him to stop, but his heart whispered to move. The girl's glowing hand pressed against the glass, matching his position. Her voice filled his thoughts one last time. "Ethan, do not let fear guide you. Let humanity be more than chains and cruelty. Open the door, human, free me." Ethan closed his eyes, his chest heavy. He knew he was standing at the edge of something huge. This choice could destroy him, but it could also save her. The silence of the chamber grew unbearable, and the hum of the bass felt like the ticking of a clock counting down. And in that silence, Ethan realized one truth. He could never walk away. Not anymore. Ethan's hand hovered near the control panel. But he pulled it back. His breath came fast, his mind in chaos. He could not open the door yet, not without knowing more. If he made one wrong move, alarms would ring. Soldiers would come, and both of them would be finished. The girl's glowing eyes followed him, her hand still pressed against the glass. "You hesitate, human," she whispered inside his head. Ethan nodded slowly. "I need to understand. I can't just open this. I need to know the truth." The girl lowered her gaze, sadness washing over her face. "Then look at their records. They keep everything hidden in plain sight. Follow the machines, and you will see." Her words planted a seed in his mind. There was a control station only a few doors down, where technicians checked logs and ran security scans. Normally, he was not allowed there. But he knew the codes for maintenance if he could access the files. Maybe he would find proof of what she said. His heart raced with fear and curiosity. But at last he nodded. "I will come back." "Wait for me," he whispered. The alien girl gave a faint smile, a fragile one, but filled with trust. "I have waited years, Ethan. I can wait a little longer, but do not take too long." Her words lingered in his head as he stepped away from the chamber. The corridor stretched before him like a tunnel into darkness, each step heavier than the last. He reached the small control station, its door half open. The room dimly lit by screens and blinking lights. Inside, the air was thick with the hum of servers and the faint smell of burnt wires. Ethan sat quickly, his fingers moving over the console. He entered his maintenance code, and the screen unlocked with a beep. At first, the files looked normal. Lists of repairs, equipment updates, guard schedules. But as he dug deeper, new folders appeared, hidden under layers of encryption. They had names like Subject 13 biological data, DNA weaponization trials, and Phase 3 extraction plans. Ethan's hands trembled as he opened one. The screen filled with photos of the alien girl strapped to a cold table, machines piercing her arms, glowing fluids extracted into tubes. Charts showed how her cells could heal instantly, how her DNA adapted faster than any medicine. Reports detailed how her blood had been used to create enhanced serums for soldiers. One line burned into Ethan's mind. Projected yield from Subject 13's body sufficient for 10 years of continuous war. He felt sick, his stomach twisting. The scientists he had worked under were not searching for knowledge or peace. They were building weapons. They were draining the girl's life for power, piece by piece. And worst of all, they planned to move her soon. Another file read, "Final transfer scheduled within 7 days. Subject 13, no longer stable for long-term use. Full extraction authorized." Ethan slammed the console shut, his chest burning with rage. Final extraction, those words meant death. If he did nothing, the girl would not survive the week. Her glowing eyes, her whispered pleas, all of it would vanish, replaced by more blood on the hands of his own people. Suddenly, a soft alarm beeped from the console. Unauthorized access detected. Ethan cursed under his breath, his hands flying across the keys to shut it down. The lights above flickered red. For a moment, before returning to normal, he knew the system had logged him. His name was already on some list. There was no turning back now. He hurried out of the station, his pulse racing. Every step felt like an echo of danger. Every corner felt like a trap. At last, he reached the chamber door again, his breath uneven, his face pale. The alien girl looked at him, her eyes questioning. Ethan whispered through the slot, "You were right. I saw everything. They are killing you, using you for war. They will end you in 7 days." The girl closed her eyes, a single tear glowing as it rolled down her cheek. "I told you, human, my life is not mine here. I am only their weapon, unless you choose." Otherwise, her voice was calm, but Ethan felt the weight of her words pressing into him. She was giving him a choice, a chance to change everything, but fear still gnawed at him. If he freed her, the entire base would come down on them. If he did nothing, she would die, and Earth would drown in weapons born of her suffering. The balance of the world seemed to hang on his trembling hands. The girl stepped closer to the glass, her silver hair catching the faint blue glow. "Ethan, you carry doubt, but you also carry light. You do not need to trust me fully, but you must trust yourself. You must see what is right." Her words rang like a bell inside him. For so long, he had lived silently, a nameless worker in a cruel machine. But tonight, he had seen the truth, and truth could not be unseen. Footsteps echoed faintly down the corridor. Ethan's head snapped toward the sound, his heart leaping into his throat. Guards were moving nearby, their voices carried through the metal halls. The girl whispered one last time, urgent but steady. "Time is short. Ethan, the secrets you saw are only the beginning. Soon they will come for me, and when they do, it will be too late. Open the door, human, free me." Ethan's hands clenched into fists. The secrets of the lab burned inside him like fire. Now he knew the truth, but knowing was no longer enough. He had to decide, and decide soon, the future of one alien girlland. Perhaps all of humanity waited for his choice. Ethan pressed his back against the cold steel door, his mind still burning from the files he had read. The truth was too heavy, too cruel, and now the girl's voice echoed in his head, louder than ever. "You see it now, human. You know what they are doing to me. You know what they will do too." Your world, her words were calm, yet they carried the sharp edge of urgency. Ethan turned to the glass slot, his eyes searching hers. "I saw everything," he whispered, his voice shaking. "But how do I know you're not lying? How do I know freeing you won't make things worse?" Her glowing eyes softened, but she did not look away. "You fear I may be a monster. You fear I may harm your kind, but look at me, Ethan. I am weak, My strength is nearly gone. If I wished for blood, would I not have taken it long ago?" Her words dug into him, but still his fear lingered. He had seen her strange powers, the glowing patterns on her skin, the way her voice touched his thoughts. If such a being were set free, could she be controlled? Could she be trusted? He thought of the vision she had shown him earlier. Cities burning, weapons glowing, humanity falling to its own greed. But another thought whispered inside him, what if she was showing him only what she wanted him to see? Ethan's hand pressed against the glass, his face close to hers. "Show me the truth," he demanded. His voice steadier now. "Show me. What will happen if I free you, and what will happen if I don't?" The alien girl's glowing eyes closed, and her palm against the glass brightened. For a moment, the corridor disappeared, and Ethan's mind filled with visions. He saw Earth's skies torn apart by fire. Human armies marched with weapons pulsing in sickly blue light. Every weapon carried her essence. Every soldier injected with her stolen blood. Cities fell in days. Oceans turned red, the world choking. Under its own creations, then the vision shifted. He saw her free, standing on alien soil under twin suns. Her people rising from shadows. He saw her looking back at Earth, not with hatred, but with pity. And in that vision, Earth survived, not perfect, but alive. Spared from its own madness, the vision ended, leaving Ethan gasping, his hands trembling. Against the steel, the girl whispered, "I do not seek your destruction. Human, I seek only my freedom. But if I remain here, they will use me until nothing is left. And your world will drown in my blood." Ethan staggered back, his chest heavy with the weight of her truth. He wanted to believe her, but doubt still gnawed at him. Could he risk the lives of billions on the word of a prisoner he barely knew? And yet, could he live with himself if he turned away and let her be destroyed before he could answer? A sound sliced through the air. Footsteps. Voices echoed from around the corner. Guards on patrol, their boots heavy against the steel floor. Ethan's heart froze. If they saw him near the chamber, there would be questions, and questions led to punishment. The girl's voice sharpened. "They come. Ethan, you must decide now." Panic clawed at him, but his instincts pushed him into action. He turned, searching for any place to hide. His eyes landing on a service hatch a few steps away. He ducked into it just as the guards appeared, their flashlights cutting across the corridor. Two men in black armor stopped at the chamber door, checking the locks, scanning the console. One of them muttered, "Strange, the system flagged unusual access. Near here, earlier." The other frowned. "Probably nothing, but stay alert. Subject 13 has been restless lately." Ethan's blood ran cold. They knew something. Maybe even about him. If they checked the logs carefully, his name would appear. He stayed silent in the darkness, barely daring to breathe. Through the small hatch slit, he saw the girl staring at the guards with quiet hatred, but she did not move. She did not reveal Ethan. Instead, she lowered her gaze, pretending to be weak. Her shoulders slumped as though she had no fight left. The guards finished their checks and moved on, their voices fading into the distance. Ethan slipped out of the hatch, his face pale, sweat dripping down his neck. He turned back to the glass, whispering harshly, "You didn't tell them about me. Why?" The girl looked at him, her expression unreadable. "Because trust must be given before it can be returned. I trusted you, Ethan, even when you doubted me." Her words struck him harder than any weapon. She had protected him when she could have betrayed him. And yet, the fear inside him did not vanish. It twisted, leaving him torn between belief and doubt. He whispered, "If I free you and you betray me, you'll doom us all." Her reply was soft, but her voice carried iron. "If I betray you, I will doom myself as well. Human, for I cannot survive alone in your world. I need your trust as much as you need my truth. The silence between them stretched, heavy. Filled with unspoken promises and unshakable fear, Ethan looked once more at the control panel, the red locks blinking steadily, each one a chain around her life. He clenched his fists, torn between courage and terror. His world had been simple. Yesterday machines, wires, silence, obedience. Now his world was this girl, this choice, this impossible weight on his shoulders. The girl pressed her hand harder against the glass, her eyes burning brighter than before. I am not your enemy, Ethan, but your people are becoming mine. If you wait too long, they will kill me, and they will kill themselves through me. The betrayal will not come from MIT, will come from them. And as her words settled in his mind, Ethan realized the truth. The betrayal was already here, hidden in the very place he worked, hidden in the hands of those he served. The question now was simple, but terrifying. Would he betray her by staying silent? Or betray his own people by setting her free? The corridor felt heavier now, as if the walls themselves pressed against Ethan. Every breath he took seemed too loud, every sound a threat. The words of the alien girl echoed inside his head, sharp and desperate. If you wait too long, they will kill me. And they will kill themselves through me. Ethan stared at the control panel, the red lights blinking like eyes that mocked. His hand hovered once more, trembling. Caught between caution and courage, then the sound of boots returned. Closer this time, not just a patrol, but a squad. Their voices carried with authority. Check all restricted halls. Something triggered the alarms. Ethan froze. The decision pressed upon him like a blade. If he left her now, she would die within days. Maybe hours. If he freed her, both of them might die tonight. The girl's glowing eyes locked with his. Ethan, choose. There is no more time. And in that moment, something inside him snapped. He pressed his hand against the panel and forced his maintenance code through the system. The locks beeped, one by one, shifting from red to yellow. Yellow to green, the steel door groaned, releasing air as it began to open. The girl staggered forward, weak but standing. For a moment, Ethan thought she would collapse, but her glowing veins pulsed brighter as the door widened. She stepped into the corridor, her bare feet touching the cold floor, her silver hair spilling down her back like liquid moonlight. Up close, Ethan saw the scars along her arms. Small marks where needles had pierced her skin countless times. Her face was pale, but her eyes burned with life. Come on, Ethan, whispered urgently, pulling her arm. But the heavy clang of boots thundered closer. The squad was almost here. The girl swayed on her feet, her voice weak. I am not strong. Not yet. Ethan clenched his jaw, wrapping her arm over his shoulder, supporting her weight. Together, they stumbled down the corridor, moving as fast as they could. The alarms blared suddenly, red lights flashing across the steel walls. The squad shouted, "Intruder detected. Subject 13 released. Seal all exits." The base came alive with chaos, doors locking, machines roaring awake. Ethan's pulse pounded in his ears. Every turn of the corridor felt like running through a maze that shifted against him. A group of soldiers appeared ahead, rifles raised, their armor glowing faintly with stolen alien energy. Ethan's stomach twisted. Already they carried weapons born from her blood. The girl lifted her trembling hand, her glowing veins pulsing brighter. Light bent around them, shimmering like water. Suddenly, Ethan saw their bodies vanish into the air. They were invisible, hidden from sight. The soldiers rushed past, shouting into radios, never noticing the fugitives standing just inches away. When the shimmer faded, Ethan gasped for air. The girl collapsed weakly against him, her strength fading. I can do little more. The years have taken much from me, she whispered. Ethan held her steady, his voice firm. It's enough. It's more than enough. He pulled her along, heart hammering, only rezzing. He had no plan, only the burning instinct to keep moving. Forward, they slipped through narrow maintenance tunnels, ducking under pipes and crawling past vents. Everywhere, alarms howled, automated voices warning of breach. Containment failure, subject 13, loose. Lethal force authorized. Ethan gritted his teeth, knowing the whole base was hunting them now, but strangely, he did not feel regret. Only a fierce determination. He had already chosen, there was no turning back. The tunnel opened into a larger corridor leading toward an emergency lift. But standing between them and the lift was a massive drone. Its red sensor glowed, scanning the hall. Its metal arms armed with plasma cannons. The girl tightened her grip on Ethan, her voice steady despite her weakness. "Do not stop. I will shield us." The drone's sensors locked onto them, its cannons powering with a sharp hum. Ethan braced for fire, but the girl raised her hand. A wave of bending light surged outward, the plasma bolts twisting mid-air, curving away, exploding harmlessly against the walls. The recoil threw her to her knees. But Ethan caught her, pulling her forward. The drone recalibrated, preparing another strike run. Ethan shouted, dragging her toward the lift. They dove inside just as the drone fired again, the blast scorching the walls. The lift doors slammed shut. Trembling under the impact, inside, the girl collapsed to the floor, her chest heaving, her glowing eyes dimmer now. Ethan knelt beside her, panic in his voice. "Stay with me. Don't fade. We're almost there." She gave a weak smile, whispering, "Freedom is close, but danger is closer." The lift rattled upward, carrying them toward the surface. Every second felt like a lifetime. Every sound a threat that the doors would rip open and soldiers would storm in. Ethan's mind spun. He had betrayed his people, broken the chains of fear. And now he carried the most hunted being on the planet. But deep down, he knew there was no choice. If he had left her, he would never forgive himself. The girl reached for his hand, her voice faint but clear. "You are not like them, Ethan. You are different. You gave me a chance, and now we share the same path." Her glowing fingers wrapped weakly around his. And as the lift climbed toward the unknown, Ethan felt the weight of the entire world pressing on his shoulders. The escape had begun, but survival was far from certain. The lift rattled as it climbed, its old gears grinding against the walls. Ethan held the alien girl close, feeling the weakness in her trembling body. Her silver hair clung to her face, her glowing veins flickering faintly like fading embers. For a moment, he thought she might collapse completely. But then her eyes opened, and the light inside them burned again. "Stay awake," Ethan whispered, his voice filled with fear and determination. She looked at him, her lips curving into a faint, weary smile. "Do not fear. Human, my strength is not gone. It only sleeps. But soon it will awaken." Her words confused him, yet a chill crawled down his spine. What did she mean, awaken, before he could ask? The lift screeched to a halt. The doors slid open, revealing the night sky above them. The air was cold, sharp with the scent of pine and steel. For the first time, Ethan saw her outside the cage, standing beneath the stars. She inhaled deeply, as if the night itself fed her soul. Her glowing veins pulsed brighter. Her silver hair lifted slightly as if stirred by invisible winds. Ethan stared in shock. It was as if the very planet responded to her. The earth hummed faintly, the air shimmered around her. She closed her eyes and whispered words in a language Ethan did not know. Words that vibrated like music in his bones. "Who are you really?" Ethan asked, his voice breaking through the silence. She opened her eyes, and for a moment, they were not simply glowing. They were endless, like windows into stars. "I am not what they told you. Not only a subject, not only an experiment," she said softly. I am from a race older than your world. A race that was born in the light between suns. My people once guided many. But we were hunted, broken, scattered, Ethan's breath caught. Her words felt impossible. Yet the truth in her voice was undeniable, he whispered. Why here? Why? Earth, the girl looked up at the stars, her glowing hand brushing across her chest. Because your kind is young, unshaped, filled with hunger and fear. They sought me not to learn, but to use, and in their greed they have chained me. But I was never meant for chains. Her voice grew stronger, carried by the wind. My DNA is not only healing, it is creation itself. With it, your kind could build wonders, cure death, end suffering. But instead, they carve it into weapons. Ethan felt his stomach twist with shame. He saw the labs in his mind, the files, the endless reports of experiments, all of it twisted the gift she carried into a curse. Suddenly, a sharp sound cut through the night. From the tree line, red lights appeared, drones rising into the air, soldiers spreading across the dark forest. They had been tracked, hunted, cornered. Ethan cursed under his breath, his grip tightening on the girl's arm. We need to run, he said, pulling her toward the shadows, but the girl stopped. Her eyes glowing brighter. Her voice rang in his head, clear and strong. No more running. It is time. Ethan froze, looking at her in confusion. Time. For what? She raised her hands, her glowing veins burning like fire under her skin. The air around them cracked, light bending, the stars above flickering as though the sky itself shifted. The drones locked onto them, targeting systems glowing. Red, the soldiers raised their rifles, voices shouting, "Surrender, Subject 13." Human accomplice dropped to the ground. Ethan's heart raced, fear crawling through him. But the girl's voice drowned it all. Do not fear, Ethan. You will see me as I am. Her body lifted from the ground, her silver hair spreading like a halo. The glowing patterns on her skin blazed, transforming into symbols, shifting like constellations. Wings of pure light unfolded from her back, vast and radiant, not made of feathers, but of energy that shimmered like galaxies. Ethan shielded, his eyes stunned by the brilliance. In that moment, she was no prisoner, no weak girl. She was something far greater, something divine. The drones fired, but the plasma bolts dissolved before reaching her. Scattered like sparks into the air, the soldiers fell back in terror. Their weapons trembling in their hands, Ethan could only stare, his breath caught, his mind struggling to accept what he was seeing. This was no mere alien. This was a being of power beyond human measure. She looked down at him, her voice gentle but filled with strength. This is who I am, Ethan. They feared me because they could not control me. They caged me because they knew my truth. I am not a weapon. I am a starborn, and I will not be broken. Ethan's chest burned with both awe and fear. He whispered, "If you are this powerful, why did you let them keep you?" Her glowing wings folded slightly, her expression softening. Because I was young when they took me, not yet awakened, they fed on my weakness, drained me before my time, but freedom stirs my strength, and now I remember who I am. The soldiers regrouped, shouting commands, calling for reinforcements, but many had already fled into the trees. Their courage shattered. The girl floated gently back to the ground, her glowing eyes locked on Ethan's. I showed you trust, and you gave me freedom. Now I give you truth. Ethan, the fate of your kind is no longer only theirs. It is ours. Ethan's legs felt weak, his mind spinning. He had freed her out of compassion, but now he realized he had unleashed something the world had never seen. Not just a prisoner, not just a victim, but a being who could change everything. He stared at her, his voice barely a whisper. What happens now? The girl lifted her face to the stars. her glowing wings shimmering as the night itself seemed to bend around her. Her voice was soft, but it carried power. Now, human, comes the choice that will shape your world, for I am awake, and I will not be chained again. The night forest burned with silence after the chaos. The drones had fallen, their wreckage smoking across the ground. The soldiers who dared to stand against her had fled, their courage crushed by the sight of her wings of light. Only Ethan and the alien girl remained in the clearing. Standing beneath the cold stars, Ethan's chest rose and fell in quick breaths. His eyes locked on her glowing form. She looked less like a prisoner now and more like something eternal, something ancient. Her silver hair floated in the air as if touched by winds no human could feel. Her glowing eyes carried not only sorrow, but something heavy responsibility, he whispered. You could destroy them all, couldn't you? She turned her gaze to him, her wings folding softly behind her. Yes, she admitted, her voice calm. I could end your soldiers, your weapons, even your cities, if I wished. I have that power now that I am awake. Ethan's heart sank, the weight of her words pressing against him like chains. But then she added, softer. Yet I do not wish for destruction, Ethan. I wish for freedom, for life, for peace. She stepped closer, her glowing hand lifting toward his chest. But peace cannot be chosen by me alone. It must be chosen by you, by your kind, and you must decide what comes next. Ethan felt his breath catch as her words sank into him. What do you mean? He asked, his voice barely steady. Her glowing fingers brushed against his shirt, just above his heart. Two paths lie before you. Human, she whispered. If you let me go, I will leave this world. I will return to the stars and seek my people. I will carry no hatred for you, but I will never return. And your kind must face what it has built on its own. Ethan's throat tightened as she continued. But if you ask me to stay, I will protect you. I will stand against those who twist my blood for war. But in staying, I will change your world forever. No one will see your kind the same again. The clearing felt like it was holding its breath. The stars above seemed sharper, colder, waiting for his choice. Ethan's mind spun with fear, doubt, and hope all tangled together. If she left, Earth would go back to its wars, its greed, its corruption. If she stayed, Earth would never be the same, touched forever by her presence, her power. My knees felt weak as he whispered, why me? Why not someone greater? Someone with power. Her glowing eyes softened, her voice filled with quiet truth. Because the powerful cannot be trusted. They are blinded by greed, by fear of losing control. I chose you because you are unseen, because you are ordinary, because kindness shines brighter in those who hold no crowns. Ethan's chest ached. For so long he had lived as no one, just another worker in the shadows of a cruel system. Now here he was, asked to decide the future of his world. He looked at her glowing wings, her endless eyes, her fragile scars from years of suffering, and he thought of the files, the labs, the soldiers with weapons made from her blood. Humanity had already betrayed her again and again, but she had not betrayed him. Even when she could have, even when the guards were near, she had chosen trust. He clenched his fists, his breath unsteady. He whispered, if you stay, they will hunt you. Forever, they will hunt us both. Her lips curved into a small smile, soft but unshaken. Then let them hunt. I am no longer afraid of cages. The forest rustled with wind, the smell of smoke fading into pine. Ethan realized there was no safe choice, no easy path. Both were dangerous, both would change him. But deep in his heart, he knew silence was no longer an option. He could not send her away, not after what he had seen, not after what she had suffered. He raised his head, meeting her gaze, his voice trembling but firm. Stay, he whispered. Stay and fight. Not against us, but with us. Show them what we should have been. Her eyes widened, glowing brighter with a fire that lit the night. Her wings spread wide, casting shimmering light across the trees. For the first time, her lips curved into a true smile. Not sad, not weak, but filled with hope. Then so it shall be. Ethan, we fight not to destroy, but to save, and through you, your kind will see a different path. Suddenly, the ground shook. The distant roar of engines filling the night. The base had sent more than soldiers now. Armored carriers, heavy machines, weapons forged from her stolen blood. The forest lit with red beams of targeting systems. The hum of energy charging for fire. Ethan's heart raced, fear biting at him again. But the girl's hand found his. Her grip warm, steady, unshaken. "Do not fear," she whispered, her wings rising. Her glow brighter than the machines. "Tonight, I am not their weapon. I am your shield, and together, we begin a new story." The soldiers shouted. The weapons roared. The forest blazed with war. But Ethan stood beside her. No longer only a frightened man, he had made his choice, and the choice had given him strength. The alien girl's light exploded outward, wrapping them both in a shield of stars. The battle had begun. But the future had already changed. For the first time, Ethan understood this was not only her fight, it was humanity's fight too.